Howdy y'all, it's Jamie. I'm thinking about doing a kind of short, kind of low effort video today. I've got a bigger project that I'm working on that's similar to the Queen Pay story. I kind of wanted to do something like that again, but it is taking me a while, and I wanted to give y'all something in the meantime. So we're in the Ekin. I have indeed torn down that wall I was telling y'all about in the last video. I don't remember which video it was, but I tore down the wall, and this is going to be kind of like a government plaza or something. I'm still on the fence about the ground here, but I don't know, we'll see. This video, I kind of wanted to talk about places that I tried to start new settlements and new towns and new bases that I set up, and then I just quit building at them. Because when you have a real old world like I do, you tend to have a few of those. Entering the Great Sea, we're going to a place called Telta. It's way up a ways up here. This land up here, this birch forest is called Wucha. It's a Finnish word. It just means white, because that's what they call the trees. They call it the Wucha Wucha Forocha. Just whitewood forest is what they call it. I think it's hereabouts. This is at the mouth of the Hars River, and it is a little originaire sort of settlement that we've got going on over here. We've got the docks, and there's kind of nothing out here. It's I built the tree farms that I used to do. I probably built this, gosh, I don't even know. Surely it would have been after 2016 or 2017. It's basically, it was supposed to be a Finnish settlement. This is like a really early offshoot of the Finnish language right here, with the I's at the ends of words. I did not get very far. I built, I guess, a quarry here. I watch a lot of YouTube videos when I build in Minecraft, and a lot of times, especially in places like this, I remember the video that I was watching while I was building, and I remember that when I was building these tree farms, I was watching a video about the K-pop industry, and about how exploitative it is, and how overworked the pop stars are. And it was I remember being very surprised by it, because I didn't ever really listen to K-pop growing up, and I didn't know about any of it myself, and it was kind of new information. That just the memory just kind of popped into my mind. This is a little bit what the Bunge looked like when I started building, because the Bunge was a very similar sort of place. It only had one tree farm, and then that was it, and just a few kind of sidewalks. And I only started building on top of it once I had a few other things in the area that I actually had a reason to go there. And then I started building it up. But over here, I don't really have a reason for it. I started building the bunge. At the time it was just called South Spruck. But I started building that as a kind of as a waypoint. It was meant as like a place you stop en route to somewhere else. But it was just like the place that it was en route to was already so close that there's not really a good enough reason to stop. So I never really like actually stayed there and like continued building it up until I discovered the spider and the skeleton spawner just underneath it, and then I had a reason to actually stay there, and so I built it up. Speaking of that place that it was en route to, I think that's another really good spot to check out. I really liked this place because it's kind of, you can't tell where it is at first. You kind of can't tell that you're approaching it until you're right on top of it because it's got these trees in the way, but you turn this corner and it's just right here. I really liked this this area. It was just a perfect little enclosed space. I really liked this waterfall here. This is Port Flourl. I came here and I started building this place up in, I guess it was day 2574. It is, of course, in the 6000s, the 6200s. So this has been here a while. I recall it being 2017. I remember, like, I started, I think I was watching, like, PewDiePie while I was building. I remember specifically while I was building the mine, I was watching, like, a PewDiePie video about, like the anime that he watches. Like, it was like I hadn't watched him since I was a kid, and then I came back, I noticed he was still making videos, and they were very different, and so I was like catching up. Of course we've got the tree farm. This is another very originaire, is what I like to call these settlements that have just kind of the same. They look exactly like they do in the bunge. They've got just the one wood type for the ground and then another for the curb. Like, I did these a lot. It was kind of my only, it was like my stylistic crutch. I really kind of leaned into it too much. This is, they speak a language that was a really early offshoot of Strangler. They've got the same. They've got the C with a cedille. That's a thing that's in Strangler. They've got it too. The YH is a Y. That's what I decided would be the digraph for that. Of course, I don't spend any time around here, so I don't really I haven't developed the language much. I decided that their thing would be watermelons. I mentioned in my economy video that I try to give every place like a unique export. You know, that way I'm incentivized to come back. But you know, what do you do with watermelons? You know, you make health potions. That's kind of it. And I didn't really need health potions, so I didn't really spend a whole lot of time over here. And then flowers, I guess is the other thing that's supposed to be like kind of an export, because it's in a flower biome. I don't remember if those were I think those were already a thing when I started the world, but I hadn't, this was the first flower biome I had found in the world, and I kind of just assumed that I would need all the flowers, so like I would definitely be coming here all the time. I started this world in 1.8. It was a 1.8 snapshot, so it wasn't quite 1.8. It was just before. It was August of 2014. Now I've got one more I'd like to show y'all. It's not technically abandoned, but it has been a while since I've built there. We're actually gonna pass pretty close to the bunge on this way. This river, I had to dig this out. I don't think in the newer generation they've really improved the rivers, but in the old generation it was always real bad. But you can see like that is Midge Point right there. That's the tower. Wow. Okay. I'm getting myself turned around. But we're just west of the bunge. It's kind of hard to see it from here. Yeah, there's a few streetlights. You can kind of see them off in the distance. But over here, this is Hars, is the name of this settlement up here. This is kind of I built this around the same time that I started Vinland. And Vinland is when I really tried to break from the Origineer, as I've been calling it, building style, and I kind of wanted to do something similar over here. This was the 2600s, and this is like an offshoot. The language that they speak was supposed to be like an offshoot of Flourlish, I guess is what you'd call it, the language that they speak at Port Flourl, the place that we were just at. But in Hars, there's kind of nothing out here. There is, this is the main reason that I still come here, is the cyan sheep, because the Strangler flag uses cyan dye, and, or it uses cyan, like it's a cyan banner. And because of like my arbitrary rule of like you can't farm an item if it's not in the right biome, it's kind of hard to get green dye out in Spruck, because the nearest desert is like really far west, and I don't really want to have to go all the way out there every time. So I've kind of compromised with myself by having a cyan sheep farm kind of close to Spruck. This is, we're outside of Spruck at this point. All the places that we've been to are beyond Spruck. They wouldn't be considered a part of the Spruckler world. I wanted to point out we've got beetroot up here. I was trying to make that a thing because it made sense to me that like in this really dry like taiga sort of biome that's up on like a plateau in like the mountains, I was like, it would make sense that they eat like root vegetables. But this area is kind of interesting because a lot like the bunge, there was really like two settlement phases. The bunge, the first settlement phase was during the 2000s, the third millennium, I guess. It was just kind of a pit stop on the way to Port Flourl, and it was, you know, I built it up a little bit. I had like a tree farm there, and then that was kind of it. And then I discovered the skeleton spawner just underneath, and so I built a little house kind of out in front of that. And then I came in and I started developing, like, you know, the more heavy industry with the book factory. So that one, so the Bunge, there was kind of like 3 phases of settlement a little bit. But in Hars, there was 2 phases. There was the original settlement by the original Hartians, and then over here, this is the second settlement, which is just a little bit down south. This is an area that I like to call Strangler's Cove. It was going to be a lot bigger. At the time I built up the inn, I was really proud of this inn. But it is like the only thing here besides that fishing shack. This is kind of just like the storage area. And I've got everything is written in Hartian, which is, again, it's like kind of an offshoot of really, really early Strangler. So it's like it's like it's like really old Strangler is the language that people speak here, because also the second settlement came not from the Flourlish but from the Stranglers, because the Stranglers were trying to map out a lot of the southwest, and this was actually like a good place to settle, like in between, because the far southwest, which I call the strange lands, because it's like more modern terrain generation way out there, whereas a lot of stuff around Spruck is really old generation, and so it's different, so I call it the strange lands. But they're actually like really far away, so in order to get there through the overworld, because I don't cheat by traveling through the nether, that's another one of my arbitrary rules, it does actually make sense to have a waypoint like in between, and then this is where it's at, is Strangler's Cove. And they're called Stranglers because they were exploring the strange lands, and so they set up the settlement kind of in between. And it was, you know, there was already people living up there, so it just made sense. It was, you know, at the mouth of a river, and the river went out that way for a ways. It was just a perfect spot for it. It was very strategic. The inn, I love this inn. This is my favorite inn to date. It is the whole, I really wanted to lean into like very like witchy sort of vibes over here. Like it is, there is a bar over here, there's a jukebox. We can listen to some spooky music. Actually, that's not music, that's just, I knew this one was spooky. I thought it was like, anyway, there's a wither painting over here. This right here is supposed to be like, it's supposed to resemble like an ender eye or an ender pearl, because like the strange lands is also where the end portal is. I've never gone in and fought the ender dragon, but that is where it's at, is way out there, so it made sense to have like an ender eye kind of in the motif up here. And this is kind of cool because it's like a bilingual. It says have a nice day is what it says, but it's written in over here. This is Strangler, kind of an older version of Strangler, and then this is Hartian. So it was the idea that I had in my mind was that the Hartians were kind of like lower class. They were kind of like the help, you know, like they maintained the inn or the hotel. And there's only 4 rooms in here, but they've all got a chest if you want to leave your belongings in there for some reason. It's a real cool inn. This is definitely my favorite inn. And then this is cool back here if you go behind the bar. Oh, look at this. This is the cellar down here. There's an ender chest. There's an anvil. There's a place to do some smelting, and then there's just like some storage. So there's beetroot. There's a fish. Is what's over here. These are speed potions. I liked the idea because, of course, there's the potion factory in the Slame. So I like the idea of, you know, the Slamblers when they stop at a place to stay the night, they want like potions instead of drinks. You know, like that's how they take the edge off. So we've got potions down in the cellar for the Slambler patrons of the bar. And then of course there's a way to get out, you know, out here, you know, at the side of the inn. I really love this inn. This is to date, this is my favorite inn. It's just so goofy looking, but it's perfect. I love it. And then over here, this is a little fishing shack. It's kind of cool. I always do this with my doors. I have them on the block outside, just to give it a little bit of texture, or a little bit of depth. And I came up with this myself. I don't really follow tutorials, and I was really proud of this design here. It was, I felt pretty good about it. We've got like a lot of structure on the inside for just a little fishing shack. But you go out here and then this is the cove. You can just go fishing. It's really cute. I really like it. So this one is not really like, I don't consider it abandoned even though I haven't built up here for a very long time. Just because it's like, you know, when I do like start, like when I do kill the Ender Dragon and when I do actually have like stuff developed in the end, whenever I, you know, feel like doing that, I will almost certainly be going through here, you know, to get there. So it just kind of like, it's just like, it is just the way to the end portal. It's just like the first stop on the trip there. And there will probably be at least one or two other stops because it is just that far away. And you know, I don't use nether portals, so I will be traveling through the overworld. It will be a long journey every time I have to go to the end, and it will be just kind of a nice, cool, you know, fun thing to, you know, stop at Strangler's Cove, you know, on your way to the end portal. So we're back home, right? But I've got one more abandoned place that I want to show y'all. And I've been debating on when I should show Genesis Valley. It is where it all started in this world for me. It's where I spent the majority of the earliest years. And it's got a lot of history. And so at times I've thought that it should have its own separate video, but I think I'd like to just go ahead and show y'all. It is, you go up west up the Inkren River. You're going to go past the Spruckler Jet, and you're just going to keep going, and it's just going to be about 500 blocks west. It is not far, but it is a place that I've long since decided I am not going to continue building anymore. And you can see up there, that's it. That is Genesis Valley. It is um, it is where the story of Queen Pay takes place. If you watch that video, it's at least the majority of where it takes place. The walls. That's a big part. That's a big part of what makes the city the way that it is the walls. And once we cross under here, we'll be in. And this is it. This was a more recent building. I never finished it. I decided around that time I'd quit building over here. But there are a few docks right here, or you can come in this way and dock in Inkren Lake. So this is the lake from the story. It looks like they're all taken. So we'll whatever. We'll do one of these. But this is it. This is Genesis Valley right here. It is, and this is only the Inkren Lake district. So this is the western part of the valley. We enter in here. This is the valley proper. It is where I started this world, and it is. There are things I like about it still, but you can. There are parts of it where you can kind of tell I was 14 years old when I built this place up. But I mean, I did spend a lot of time here. There was a lot of rebuilding on top of stuff. This right here, this is the village. It is my first attempt at building like a real village, but it was, back in the day when the mechanics of how villages worked were different. These days you need a certain number of beds for the game to consider it a village, but this one, back in the day, it was about doors. Like, if you had enough doors, it was considered a village. So I was trying to squeeze as many tiny little houses into this place as possible. This was actually carved out of a mountain. It's pretty much impossible to tell because I kind of replaced every single block, but it was genuinely like how I came to build such a weird looking building right here. This strange monstrosity of architecture. But I think the coolest thing was the doors in the village had to have sunlight access. So what I did was I made the paths glass, and I made sure that at least one block in front of it. Actually, this one might be an exception. That one I might have messed up. But like most of these, like I made extra sure that there was sun access at some point within 3 blocks of the door. I think that's what the rule was. It was like it didn't have to be directly in front of it, but it needed to be like within a few blocks. And I put an iron golem on every floor. It is multiple stories high. You go up, and it is like a little silly because there are like some of these where you go inside, and I think you look up and you can see the floor through some of them because it was just like necessary for, I can't remember which of these it was. Right here, this is one of them where the path kind of cuts through the ceiling, so if you were standing in that one, you could look up and see the floor above you, which was not, you know, sort of a weird design choice, but that's kind of how I did it. And then there's a floor above that, and a floor above that, and then there's a wall. This is kind of the wall around the valley, and it was going to be just an extension of the village, but I never got around to finishing it. That right there is a very elaborately designed mob spawner. It is, you just go down all the way down here, and this is where they land. This was, this room right here, was kind of funny. This was around, I think this was, I built this, the snapshot that they added the different fence types. Like, it used to just be oak fences you could build, and they added it to where, like, you could build any type of wood fence. And so I wanted to incorporate that in. I think they also added the new doors in that update. It used to just be the oak door, and so I wanted to have a non-oak door. I never got around to finishing this part right here. This is the part where, like, the spiders were supposed to land, and I never got around to doing that. But I've got an enchanting area down here. This is, you know, this is pretty cool, right? And then lots of, oh my god, there's so much lapis lazuli here. I didn't know that. I might have to steal that. I try not to steal anything from here. I try to, like, preserve it, because it just feels wrong to take from it. This is the map of Genesis Valley. This is the valley. This is the lake. This is the origin forest is what I call this. This is where the spawn of this world is somewhere in here. If I were to break my bed and kill myself, it would I would spawn somewhere in here. This is just a storage room. You can tell, like, this is another part of, like the outside of this building looks really cool, but you go inside and you can tell that it's just one block thick, and it's supposed to look good on the outside because, like, the inside of the wall is just flush. This, I was really proud of this. It took me a really long time to fill up both of these chests. But this one, you'll notice no conlang on the storage chests. That's because this was before I started doing conlangs in my Minecraft world. This was I really like this storage room because it's just, like, very organic. It's just like wherever I could find spots in the wall to shove stuff in, I did it. And then this empties out. This is to the village. Again, it kind of has a natural point where it connects here. And then I built this over here, which is kind of just an extension, and it's just for, like, dyed items. And I had, like, a separate chest for every single color. I don't know why I did that, because most of them don't need that much storage. And then I was worried I was running out of space up here for, you know, like, I was kind of a collector. Like, I would never throw stuff away. So, like, I had, like, I would farm, like, way more than I needed. And I just had, like, a ton of feathers and a ton of wheat seeds, and I just wouldn't throw any of it away. Even though I didn't really use it much. Like, I still, feathers again. Cooked chicken. I had a cooked chicken, like, auto chicken killer thing that quit working at a certain point, but it was like it produced so much that I just needed like more storage, so I added like an extension over here that would sit on the lake, and I never got around to actually filling any of these chests up. These are all empty, but they're here, you know, in case you wanted to fill them up. And then I've got, you know, these two like boat stations. If you come in and you want to access this via boat, you can, which is kind of a cool idea. I don't know what I was doing down there. I don't remember doing that. This place is genuinely like so huge. It's like I really spent a lot of time here. These up here, these big old fences were kind of just to keep the villagers in. I really worried a lot about them getting out, like to an almost like irrational point. I've got this is supposed to be a quarry. It's dug, you can see, all the way down to what would have been bedrock back in the day. Now it's just a deep slate. But everything kind of north of that wall right there, I kind of just like dug down. I had, these are older walls. I didn't really have a good style. These I built when I was much younger. These other walls, I had a little bit more building skill at the time I did that. I've got, this is kind of cool, this up here. This I built a little bit later. It's kind of a very inefficient pumpkin farm. This up here, this used to be a villager breeder. It was like one of the old school ones that that used the doors. But it quit working. I think I came in and like the world was corrupted, and like it just killed, like I lost all the villagers in here, and I didn't feel like I didn't feel like curing more zombie villagers to get the to replace the population, and so I kind of just tore it down. I've got this is kind of cool. This right here, this was back when my sister and I used to play on the same world. I'm gonna show y'all how that works. What you would do is you'd come around, enter the quarry from that side, you'd come down here, and you would you'd pillar up here, and you would place something in this chest, just one item, and it would open the door. And then you'd come back around instead of pillaring up, and it's like, this is supposed to be like a prison. I could never figure out how to make it work. I was trying to build a mechanism up here where you would have a bed, and it would, you know, when you respawn, it would knock you into the prison down below. So like you couldn't like just kill yourself to respawn outside of the prison. It is all obsidian, as you can see. It is the real deal, except for the spiral staircase. I kind of messed up how that would work. I forgot that you'd need. I kind of messed this part up, and I had already placed the obsidian, so I didn't really bother. And it was supposed to be like there was going to be an island in the middle, and you couldn't really escape outside of it, because, you know, I would take away your pickaxe, and so you'd be just punching at obsidian, and it wouldn't really, it's put all the way down at bedrock. I thought it was kind of a cool idea to build like a prison where like I could put you in, and you wouldn't have a way to get out. Speaking of pickaxe. I know I've been blathering on about this place for too long, but this is a little tool shack right here, and I've got you know, all the different tools, you know, old shovels that, you know, I couldn't repair before mending. And then the pickaxe chest, that is my first wooden pickaxe. I decided to keep it, and it is as old as this world is. I crafted this pickaxe in 2014. I haven't gotten rid of it. It's still there. I wanted to mention lastly, Origin Forest. This is where the spawn point of the world is. It's completely covered by walls. There's no way inside except for one secret way, which I'm going to show y'all because you're my friends and you're not going to tell anybody about this secret way to get inside. You got to go down into the mine. And then you're going to go down to the, you're going to go down to the right this way. And you are going to come up this way. And let's see if I can remember where this is. I think you come up here. There it is. And we are almost at the top. And here we are. We are in Origin Forest. We made it. This forest actually, fun fact, it was not this dense before. I planted all these trees manually. I tore down the trees that were there. I kind of terraformed it a bit. I kind of built the entire sanctuary by hand. I bone mealed all this grass in too. This is something that I do a lot. I've done this before in Vinland. Most of the trees that are in Vinland were placed there manually. Like I built the entire forest of Udalogus Plateau by hand. But it burned down a few times, this forest. That is something that happens with these really dense forests, is if lightning strikes the wrong place, it kind of all goes up in flames. And I did have to like redo it, but it's just kind of a nice, you know, little sanctuary. It's not really lit up at night though, so you gotta be careful you don't ruin it. You do want to try to come in during the day if you want to pay your respects to, I guess, the spawn point. Anyway, that is just a few of the places in my Minecraft world I don't really hang out anymore, that I've kind of abandoned. I just wanted to show y'all some of the world today. I hope y'all enjoyed the video today. I'm cooking up something good. Y'all just gotta be patient. I hope y'all have a nice day.